Okay, let's see if this one works now. What I've got is that I've got a piece of bronze mirror board on my B plate. Okay, I have got the circle, right, on top of my folder. I'm now going to put my Cuttlebug plate on top of that, and I'm going to start rolling this through so I can get some bite on it. And with the other hand, and here we go. Yeah, come on. Thank you. Right, there it comes. Right. So, let's see what we have here. Now, let's open that up. Okay, can you see that? Right. There is a bit of emboss come through. This is very prominent and has actually split it. Okay, because it's cheap mirror card. And not something that I'm going to be using a huge amount, obviously, now I've spotted that. But what we'll also do is we will do it again. Okay, so I'm putting it back in. And in fact, I'm going to take that extra shim out and see if that makes a difference. And I'm going to put this piece, you know what, I think we'll go that way. So it's going to give me a ribbon with a sentiment in the middle. I'll pop that back on plates and bring the other one in. Okay, and slide it through till we get a bit of bite and start rolling it the right way through the machine. I'm trying not to get too much glare in the camera. Alright. I suspect it's because it's a thicker card than the silver mirror that I used before. So, I'll take that bit off and we will, yeah, look, there we go. That's much better actually, that's a piece I can use. So there we go. We have got a ribbon strip across the centre. We've got a void and we are clear below it and above it. And I'm going to shift that light a little bit and see if it will help. Ah, there we go, that's a bit better. Right. You can see the other one, shim was a bit too much because we've got that little bit here. Okay, right, one thing I do want to say, Daff, is do not use a complicated shape. Okay, that is too complicated for this technique. Right, what you need is areas where the rollers are not going to press, so you need to have voids around it. Okay, it's not going to work if you don't have a big enough space for the rollers to not put their pressure. Okay, if the gaps are too small, the rollers don't see any difference. The gaps are big enough, they do, which is why it works very well on things like circles, arcs, squares. You can also do frames, but I haven't got any prepared at the moment. Just so long as you've got big enough voids around it, sort of on the outside and on the inside, you can do it. You can do it with some die cuts, okay, but you're going to have to layer them up enough to be able to do it. And always, you know, run it on a piece of test first. Like I say, that first one, I'd left the shim underneath, which is why I'm getting some residual embossed through, because it was too thick sandwich. Alright, and it cracked the foil in here. Alright, but taking that shim out then gave me a perfect one on the strip. Okay, so have a bit of a play around with it. It's only cereal boxes, and I know now I've said that you're thinking, it was bin day this morning. Alright, so if it's not bin day this morning, then I suggest you hurry up outside and grab them all back and start cutting them up. Alright, have fun. Bye. Hi again, me again. Right, Duffs. Oscar has asked me to try and explain something to you. So, what I've got here is I have an embossing folder. Whoops, get my fingers round. Right, it's just a Cuttlebug embossing folder, nothing special about it. The pattern itself is sort of lots of little circles with flowers in. Okay, so what you can do, and this is something that Tim Holtz has done before now, is he has created some blanks made out of acrylic, so that what it does is when you run this through your embossing machine, it leaves a void where the rollers don't roll, and then it doesn't emboss a particular part of the card. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you two pieces of card that I've done. Well, it's one piece. Right. Okay, this one here. Can you see there's a small sort of circle of emboss just here? Okay, but the rest of the card up and down there is blank. And on the other side, we've got the emboss from the folder, but it's got a circular void here. Okay, so it hasn't embossed that piece. Now this is great for doing things like sentiments, things like that. So the way you do this, okay, we're going back to cereal packets again. Okay, the way you do this, to create the circle void, I have just used a woodware very large punch. Okay, so it's got quite a hole in the middle of it there. Okay, and I have punched out 4 circles from cereal board. Yeah, cereal packaging. See, there's one. Alright, quite flexible and bendy. So I stuck 4 of them together. Now as you can see, it's actually quite thick. Probably a 1/16 or more of an inch thick. So it's enough with a mixture of plates to create this effect. Now where the circle was on the embossing folder, okay, so this circle here, right, I put this piece of mirri into this embossing folder. Okay, so let's try and replicate this. Probably not even going to line them up properly. Let's have a feel. Where's it gone? Round about there. So then you close the folder, and on the top you put your circle where you want your sentiment to be. Okay? And that circle has been pressed, but the rest of the card hasn't, because it's lower. Okay, it's lower than this circle here. Alright, so there's been pressure applied to the circle, but not to the rest of the folder. And that has created that circle in the middle of this mirri card. Okay, now the opposite is also true. I used the strips that I'd cut the circles from, which is the edge of my cereal packets, you know, the side pieces, and I punched the 4 circles, and then 2 on each one, and then folded and glued them together, so they're the same thickness as the circle, but this one is a narrow band which just fits over. Let's get it the right way up first, because one end's slightly higher than the other. Now, can you see there's very little emboss showing through that circle? Okay, and where the strip has been is where it's been embossed, or in near vicinity is where it's been embossed. Okay, but it's narrower than the folder. So if I lie that on top of there, you'll see that it didn't emboss the rest of it because there was no pressure. It only embossed this narrow strip here, not the whole way across the folder, and it left a void there. Now what you can do is you can do, let's call them masks, okay? You can make ones that are full size of the embossing folder. You can do narrow strips like this, so it would give you the centre. You can do the cutouts so that you get one specific embossed piece. Alright? The thing that you have to remember is With using thick, okay, you can see how thick these actually are. With using 4 layers like this, you're gonna have to adjust your sandwich. Alright, now you may have to use more than 4 layers, okay, and you're gonna have to fiddle around with your plates. Now the plates I've got in front of me are a Cuttlebug B plate, okay, because that's very slim. If I can get the edge of it, there we go. And I've got my black Happy Cut plate. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pause, and then I'm going to get some mirror card. Okay, hold on.